The week-long turn-based Thursday event is live on Steam, and alongside highlights, announcements, and over 450 hand-picked games, we also got a pretty great sale for turn-based strategy fans. In this video, I'm going to hit some of my top recommendations for you to pick up, but also I would love to see some of yours in the comments below. Cyberknight's Flashpoint is a cyberpunk-themed game with some familiar XCOM-styled mechanics, but it really is much more than that. Plan and execute elaborate heists with squad tactics, abilities, weapon modding, and an overworld that includes factions, safe houses, and dynamic storytelling that evolves with who you work with, take on missions, and what they do. If you've been looking for full character customization in one of these games, that's here too, including names, looks, and massive skill trees. And the developers have a firm policy to never wipe or push an update that breaks any previous version saved games, which is great because this game literally gets updated multiple times a week, and it's been that way since early access. An already deep game with a long roadmap of support ahead of it, this is one that any tactics fan should at least try. Into the Breach is a classic, and one of the most clever turn-based tactics games out there. You control a squad of giant mechs defending cities from massive alien creatures called the Vec, with the twist being that every enemy attack is known to you ahead of time. So instead of gambling on hit chances, your missions revolve around solving tactical puzzles every turn. Most of the time, you're not even trying to kill everything, but instead strategically pushing enemies, blocking attacks, and making smart sacrifices to protect the buildings that power your grid. Runs are fast-paced, every decision matters, and replayability isn't a question. There's hundreds of handcrafted maps, but enemy locations and spawns are generated every time you drop in. If you enjoy strategy games that feel more like chess or puzzles and giant mechs, Into the Breach is an easy recommendation. Songs of Conquest is a Heroes of Might and Magic style game combining strategic thinking with kingdom management and turn-based tactics battles. Expand your kingdom and build your towns with a wide variety of maps and biomes to loot and explore, including randomized maps to increase replayability. The combat here is deep with a mix of troop abilities and magic, along with 4 campaigns, 4 factions, and an in-game map editor that allows you to create your own adventures. This really is a great price, and Songs of Conquest also recently released a new DLC. With yet another recent DLC that just dropped and is on sale, it is the perfect time to jump into Wartales. Your mercenaries will explore the open world and enter into a standard turn-based tactics combat phase when they encounter enemies. There is also full character customization and permadeath, however there are a lot of systems here and it has a pretty steep learning curve. You will need to pick good and bad traits for your characters as well as professions and manage things like hunger and resources. Wartales can be a bit grindy, but with all the DLC and updates it's received, it's really turned into quite the experience. Now, if you're looking for a deeper, larger scale Warhammer Tactics experience, it doesn't get much larger than Rogue Trader. Charting routes and warp jumping across the massive Coronis expanses, multiple star systems and planets, all while amassing wealth, managing a trade empire, and recruiting companions with a wide variety of backgrounds and convictions. The most well-known comparisons are the Larian RPGs, Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin, with the world building, writing, and character development going deep here. Unfortunately, Rogue Trader is maybe 50% voice acted, mostly the main quest and important conversations, which means there can be a lot of reading. However, the game does a great job sorting out conversations and details with highlighted tooltips that summarize lore and story events briefly, keeping you focused and understanding what's happening around you. Like any decent RPG, Rogue Trader's dialogue options allow you to roleplay as arrogant, heretical, or as dedicated to the Emperor as you want. Although I prefer the iconoclast playstyle, a more level-headed, people-minded approach, it is very tempting to run back another playthrough as a full Agent of Chaos. Battle Brothers is a classic turn-based tactics RPG with a little bit of a minimalist graphic style and some absolutely fantastic writing. Lead your mercenary company through a medieval dark open world and navigate all the challenges that come with it. If punishing turn-based tactics combat, character customization, and permadeath are your thing, then this just might be the game for you. Battle Brothers even has its own full-scale overhaul mod called Reforged that reworks and expands a lot of the game and can extend the replayability of the game after you're done with vanilla. Battle Brothers is also one of the only games I've seen where every DLC pack is rated very positive on Steam. That's impressive. If you ever wanted to play the alien side of XCOM, Attack of the Earthlings is like that. Kind of. This is a relatively straightforward and simple turn-based tactics game with a big focus on satire, dark humor, and tactical stealth gameplay. You'll take control of the Swarmers, an insectoid race whose planet is being invaded by a massively dysfunctional drilling corporation. Set traps, take control of unsuspecting humans, and use their tissues to upgrade your units with unique roles and abilities. While this game is a lot of fun, it can be completed in 10 hours or less, and the stealth-focused style of gameplay might feel a little bit slow for some. Because of this, I can really only recommend it on sale. The game that started it all. If you somehow missed out on Slay the Spire the first time, or don't want to jump into the early access of the sequel just yet, you can grab the gold standard and roguelike deck builders for cheap. The foundation for both games is the same. You pick a character, ascend a branching path through the Spire, and build your deck of cards as you go. Each of the 4 characters has unique abilities and playstyles, with synergies and wild, game-breaking combos just waiting to be discovered. This isn't really an unfamiliar formula anymore at this point, but Slay the Spire remains one of the best to do it, on top of an amazing modding community that keeps it fresh all these years later. Oh yeah, it's one of the most played games on Steam Deck too, perfect for on the go. Next up is Those Who Rule, an indie strategy RPG that flew under the radar, but is absolutely worth a try if you enjoy the feel of classic tactics games. You play as a small band of recruits in a grounded, low fantasy world, navigating a complex political and morally ambiguous set of circumstances. This is a linear experience with a more serious story and characters taking center stage, but that doesn't mean the combat is lacking. Those Who Rule delivers Fire Emblem-inspired battles with its own mechanical twist, like a hex grid for increased tactical choices and flanking, and the zone of control mechanic that allows your units or your enemies to stop exactly that. Each recruit has their own unique set of equipment and skills, with a dynamic level up system giving increased stats, weapon masteries, and passive abilities. A game that is certainly deeper than it looks. Those Who Rule comes in at a great price, and if you enjoy it, the sequel was just announced to be in development during the turn-based festival. If you're looking for a lighter version of Wartales with a little less management, Rising Army feels just like that. A mercenary guild sim and auto battler, Rising Army comes in with a feel-good art style and a regionally divided map to explore as you recruit to grow your warband and seek the favor of the king. Build up your camp to assign troops, manage resources, customizing names and equipment with more than 50 different weapons and armors, all while exploring and looting the open world. Sound familiar? Battles are automatically resolved after placing your units, with the difficulty and amount of enemies growing as you take on more missions. Don't let the lighthearted art style fool you. There's definitely still some challenge here. And while this isn't the longest game out there, it's still a very fun take on the genre. Blightstone is a dark fantasy tactical roguelite with a lot of new takes on turn-based tactics. Guide your party of heroes as they escort a living crystal across a corrupt and blighted world, fighting everything from wild boars and wolves to giants, tainted villagers, and demonic knights. Combat is the highlight here, with a gridless, free movement system and environmental weather and interactions that actually affect how battles play out. Classes all manage to feel incredibly unique, and each one has different abilities to take advantage of the battlefield. My favorite is throwing enemies off cliffs and into holes with the brawler, or setting entire fields of brush on fire just to flush out that one enemy. Outside of combat has its own hazards, as the blight takes hold at night, and you'll have to manage that alongside resources and camping abilities, kind of like Darkest Dungeon. Blightstone is an early access game, however during the turn-based Thursday event they just announced the addition of a brand new class, the Rogue, and released an updated roadmap for the rest of the year. For the price of admission, Blightstone is a great, brutal yet fun ride.